So brown belt is more for making your A game as perfect as possible. It's a refining stage. Hello folks, welcome to my channel. My name is Kazuki Umemura. I'm a BJJ black belt training in Tokyo, Japan. I've been training, competing, and teaching BJJ in multiple countries for many years, so I'll be sharing a lot of useful information on how to safely become more proficient at BJJ on this channel, so make sure to subscribe this channel so that you won't miss anything. Today is also the belt color series, although this YouTube channel is mainly for practitioners 40+. For those videos about belt color series, I'll talk about them for any adult and master practitioners at any age. So today's video is about what it means to be a brown belt. Before we get too deep in it, let me emphasize this. The standard criteria or the levels for belt colors are totally different from academy to academy and professor to professor. So what I'm gonna talk about here is just what I think is a general guideline for brown belts from my experience of having trained and taught BJJ for many years. Before sharing my idea, let me share what the website of the biggest BJJ organization, IBJJF, International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation, says about BJJ brown belts. For you to get a brown belt, you have to be 18 years old or over. Also, if you are 18 years old or over, you have to be a purple belt at least a year and a half to get a brown belt, and you have to be a brown belt at least for a year to get a black belt. Again, this is just a guideline you have to follow if you want to compete in IBJJF tournaments. So I've seen a lot of professors promoting a black belt to a student who hadn't trained for a year as a brown belt. Also, IBJJF website doesn't really provide any information on what skill set is needed to be a brown belt as far as I find. So if you know they provide those information, please comment below. So here, let me share my opinion on what it means to be a brown belt from my experience. When I say what it means to be a brown belt, I think it can mean two things. One, how your skill set is at the point you get a brown belt. Two, how your skills will improve throughout your brown belt journey. I'll skip the first one because in the previous video, what it means to be a purple belt, I explained how your skills will improve throughout your purple belt journey and how your skill set is at the point you get the brown belt. So if you want to know about it, I put the link for the video in the description below, so please check it out. But long story short, at the point you get the brown belt, you've already combined all the positions or techniques that you think you're good at, and you made it a sequence, which is your A game. Also, you've filled out most of the holes in your entire game, so your fundamental is almost close to being perfect at this point. And then now let's talk about when you get the brown belt, what's gonna happen, how your skill set will change. There are two changes you will see as a brown belt. One, your A game gets refined to expert level. Two, you are introduced to defense and basics of leg attacks. So the first one, your A game getting refined to expert level, what does it mean? Like I explained in the previous video, purple belt is when you combine the techniques and positions you think you're good at, you'll make it a sequence, which is your A game. Although you have an A game, the A game is not tight enough to use it on brown belts or black belts. Let's say when you make a transition from a technique to technique, there might be a small spot where brown belts or black belts can use to escape or counter you. Let's say your A game is spider guard and lasso guard, and then if you play spider guard and then they try to deal with your spider guard and you switch to leg lasso guard, right? But that's the moment right before you get the lasso guard, they drop their head down so you cannot get lasso guard. Maybe the way you rotate your foot in to get leg lasso guard might need some improvement. As a brown belt, you make a small adjustment for things like this. Of course, you'll still add new techniques if you find something, but by the time you get a brown belt, you'll be exposed to most of the techniques. So the chances you won't have as much findings as you had as a white to purple belt. So brown belt is more for making your A game as perfect as possible. It's a refining stage. And the second change you'll see as a brown belt is about leg attacks. When you are a purple belt or below, you are protected from certain leg attacks like knee bar or toe hold by the rule. But when you get brown belt, out of nowhere, brown belts and black belts try to finish leg attacks on you from a variety of positions. at the beginning of your brown belt journey, of course you'll get tapped out by Niba and Toho again, right? But as time goes by, you'll start realizing stuff like, oh, if I twist my leg angle a little bit, they won't be able to finish a Niba. Or you might realize if my leg is bent, they cannot finish a Toho. You will learn leg attack defense like that by yourself. Or you might ask your professor how to defend it. And then you won't get tapped out as easily. Also, not only do you learn about leg attack defense, but also you'll start learning some basics of leg attacks. But here's the thing about leg attacks. When you learn a new technique that is not a leg attack, you can usually practice it by using it on lower belts and have a lot of reps for it, right? But you can still drill it, do situational sparring, so you can still try them out in regular sparrings again and again. And then you start knowing the basics of entries, setup, and finishing leg attacks. Those are the most of the changes you will see as a brown belt. Also, this is the belt you will start teaching. So brown belt is literally the expert or master level. As you go towards the end of your brown belt journey, you will start doing well on most of brown belts and some black belts too. Then you are ready to get a black belt. But it's still all your professor's decision whether they promote you or not. So even if you don't get promoted as fast as you think you should, don't get frustrated. Purely focus on your technique improvement. On this YouTube channel, I'll be posting a lot of useful information. They tend to be mainly for practitioners 40 plus, but I'll post a lot of useful information for any practitioners at any age too. So make sure to hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss anything. Also, if you are a practitioner 40 plus, please join our Facebook group where any practitioners 40 plus can come together and help each other. I put the link below, so check it out. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Today is the youngest you'll ever be. Awesome.